So we have already talked a lot today, and it's already late, so we like to keep it short. I'd say maybe we can pick up some of the questions either of the audience or of you. I have also a question. And so I'd like especially, I mean, I know you guys, I listen to you, but not to Martin who came up. And actually, Martin, you are based in Berlin. You're very long in the Ethereum and also consensus environment. And you made one of the outstanding ICOs in the last month. Yeah, there are many criteria to that, but it would be interesting to learn maybe more about how you dealt with that challenge of that jurisdiction, you know, what's the token, where to locate your company, how to deal with it. So, if that's fine, yeah?
Sure, yeah. So, well, I've co-founded Gnosis. Gnosis is a prediction market platform based on Ethereum. So with prediction markets, you can do all kind of interesting things, forecast all kind of things. You can do things like sports betting, but you can also do very interesting parts about information aggregation. I think a few times here there was this, okay, we need to gather information around ICOs. We want to do predictions, and I always think, yeah, prediction markets. So they already directly provide an incentive to deliver the right information, and you don't necessarily need reputation systems because you can just trust someone because someone is actually putting money where the mouse is. Anyways, that's roughly Gnosis. Now the question, yeah, we did an ICO or token sale. That's how we called it, token sale. But anyways, I mean, it's back in the days, ICO was not a word to use. Now everyone is using it, so whatever. So we did an ICO in April. Yeah, what was the question again? So how we prepared it, right? Yeah. So a few details. First of all, it took quite a while. So I think we started preparing, or Gnosis is roughly 2.5 years old. We started looking into the option to do a token sale in, well, roughly a year before the actual ICO, and I think we spent at least 8 months figuring out at least a fraction of the legal questions. I'm not sure we figured out all, but I still don't think anyone figured out all. But we tried our very best to well, make sure everything we did was fine. Well, a few points. So. The company itself is based in Gibraltar. Gibraltar is one of the many countries that are actively trying to get blockchain related companies to be based there. They are working on a regulatory framework currently. It's a DLT framework. Somewhat like the BIT license in New York, but much more business friendly. But it's not like well, I mean, I guess there's a scale of jurisdictions, and there are those jurisdictions where you can just do whatever. Gibraltar is not such a jurisdiction, so basically, they had already done this model with gaming and gambling, and they were one of the first countries that came up with a somewhat decent framework around regulation around gaming and gambling. And now the reality is that kind of most reputable gaming companies are based there, and if you don't get a license there, then you go to wherever. And now they're little bit trying to do the same model with blockchain companies. Okay. More specific for.
Yeah. I'd like to open up the if someone of the audience has a question. Yeah. Okay.
Hi. Markus from eChargeWork. We are working hardly on an ICO. We are coming from the e-charge industry, so we're building 50,000 e-charge points where you can charge your car, and we want to have the payment on the blockchain technology, and we are hardly working on ICO, but there are some huge people who are trying to talk to me how to do it best, to set up a foundation, Zug, or to set a real Aktiengesellschaft, or how to find the real people that are teaching me right and not to do a lot of mistakes.
Oh, I think you're at the right place. Who wants to pick up the question? Question was, I think, for you, Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are many aspects. So we when we decided for our jurisdiction, well, of course, Switzerland was the country at that time most project used. So there's kind of foundation model, and there's this one law firm, basically MME, that did kind of a ton of those token sales. At that time, we decided against them or against that route for two reasons. First of all, it felt always a bit, well, not, I wouldn't say, kind of saying, oh, it's a donation for the foundation, or that sometimes it felt a little bit strange. We are happy with Gibraltar, but I'm sure there are many other routes or companies.
I don't care. Yeah. The question was how to find the best people that can help us to do a really good ICO. Not only where to place it, and you need marketing, you need to find the crowd and so on. So it's hard to find the people that will really help you. And there's so many, if I talk to 20 people, then they all say, okay, we do it, ICO, we organize it for you, and exclusively and so on, but maybe that's not.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a good answer.
Maybe I pick it up. So indeed, if you look tonight, the topic is ICO, and the people here being present are involved in one another way. And we are also to some extent working together on that topic, because you have until today not one place to go, because you have many experts having to work with it. And ICO is not only a financial process, it's not only, yes, it's a community, exactly, so it's a social innovation blockchains. It's also I think you first have to dig into the strategy. Actually, what's about your proposition, and to positioning right amongst existing concepts on the market, but also upcoming and anticipated propositions. And then you basically need to carve out your potential position, and then maybe your way forward. And this may define the token design you have. And this may then define your jurisdiction you have, and how you then try to reach the goals with new tools. You know, we have now new tools. I mean, we all know this. I mean, I can ask you what are the basic communication aspects you need to consider when you have an ICO. Alex, you know it too.
Yeah, I mean, communication, is it still on? Yeah. Yeah, has a lot of elements. So for myself, when I'm investing in any projects, of course, website is one source. Then you got all the Slack communities, Telegram communities. You got all the big blogs like Bitcoin Magazine or CoinDesk or whatever there is. So there are many channels, Twitter, influencers. You could make a long list of channels where you would actually need to reach out to get the attention of the crypto world. Yeah, it's pretty complex, and it's rolling. So there's more and more coming every day.
So So this is just an example. We have also, with the introduction of the ICO as a new financing tool, we have basically new marketing tools coming up, which are different than the previous one. You have also, 20 years ago you had an IPO roadshow. Today you have an ICO roadshow. And you don't have anymore the closed clubs like you had at fireside chats in Switzerland, but you have meetups. And you have a global community. So this is why, for example, we reach out to Korea. We translate our events also in Russian, and I know you guys do it also in Spanish. So you need to tap into the global crypto community, which is global. And this is just one aspect, And yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I see there's another question.
Alex, are you trying to convince your LPs to allow investing into ICOs? And do you see this as a route for early stage investors or VCs?
Yeah. Both very good questions. Of course, we are wrapping our heads around this. Unfortunately, I'm not in a partner role, so I don't decide anything on my own. I have some influence, but in the end, it's mainly the partners who decide on such strategic topics. So we are discussing it very actively as of now, and this will become pretty relevant soon, I guess. Namely. Latest, in case any of the existing portfolio companies, I mentioned two, there might be others from more conventional markets also considering to tokenize parts of their products. And I'm pretty sure that this will definitely pop up within the actual portfolio. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I think this could be a path to go actually to get equity financing in the very early days, build your product, build up the strategy around it, design everything, and then do your token sale later on. And it seems to be kind of a best practice for now. We've seen that with all the very big ICOs as well, that these guys don't just directly raise money through ICOs before having built anything, and the market will mature on this topic, and yeah, I'm very confident to see more venture financing players entering this field. There are many challenges though. It's not only about picking the right assets and investing. It's also about the infrastructure, for example, right? So what do you do with the coins? Do you store it all on a ledger, on a keep key, put it in a bank vault? How do you liquidate, and when do you liquidate? How do you pay off your LPs in the end? So there's a lot of structural questions we still can't answer, and there will be experiments around this. Yeah, but I'm very confident that more and more VCs and other funds are going in this direction. What was the second part of the question again? Sorry.
The second part was mostly like, how do you stick to the defined agenda of the funds? But you kind of said it's not.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's basically the relation between the VC funds and their limited partners, the investors behind, kind of, and their specific agreements, the LPAs, limited partner agreements, and there you have some clauses in which kind of assets you're allowed to invest, and of course you can have decisions overruling such clauses. That's possible. I think it's much more tricky on the issuer side than on the buyer side, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Here we have another question.
Yeah, question for Will. So I've listened to a few podcasts from I guess like founders of exchanges, and they're ramping up, obviously because of the volume, like I guess like in the last 5-6 months, gone through the roof. Like
yeah, so I think on Bitfinex in the last 3 months we've had 50% of every support ticket we've had over the last since 2013. So it's I mean, there's no way you can grow a support team that
exactly. So my question is, so I heard that from Jesse Carl Kraken and from the Shapeshift guy, Oak Voorhees. And you just said that you guys are also experiencing that kind of growth at the moment. Are you guys worried about like trying to grow the team to sustain like what's going on now, and then let's say in 6 months' time we have a bit of a crack, or probably a decent sized crack, and then the volume goes away because people are not really crypto people, they're just, hey, it's going up 100% this week, I want to buy some. And then what is your business model look like? If the volume goes away?
Yeah, there's certainly an aspect of that, and I think that's partly why a lot of the exchanges are reticent to grow the teams to unsustainable levels. The solution has to be to some extent part-time, and the problem is that bringing on team members is a very long process. So, if we begin taking someone on now, it may take months before they actually join the team, for security reasons, but also because there's a big learning curve. So it's something so people management for these kind of businesses is incredibly difficult. I think it has to be taking a long-term view of thinking that even if there is a crash, we expect this industry to continue growing, and it's worth investing in people now, with the expectation of that being ready for the next exponential liftoff.
Okay, so I just hear that we are tired. Yeah. So then I just would suggest, if that's fine with you, come to an end, and I would like to thank you all for coming and making this happen.